All right, buckle up, everybody, because today we're diving headfirst into a world where, well, let's just say things get a little weird.
Weird is putting it lightly.
Yeah, maybe. But how else would you describe a show where a bunch of
Talking objects.
talking objects exactly are competing to win ownership of all things, Blackpool Tower?
Battle for Blackpool Tower.
Battle for Blackpool Tower.
It's a wild ride.
It is, and we're going to break it all down today using these episode scripts as our guide.
They're quite something, these scripts.
They really are, and I think what really struck me was the setting. I mean, Blackpool itself, it's this classic British seaside town.
You've got the iconic tower, the promenade, the whole atmosphere is very, very traditional.
Right, and then you drop these crazy anthropomorphic objects into the mix. It's such a bizarre juxtaposition.
It's like someone took a quintessentially British landscape and just sprinkled it with a healthy dose of surrealism.
Exactly, and it creates this really unique and unexpected backdrop for the competition.
You've got this clash between the ordinary and the extraordinary, and it's fascinating to see how those two elements interact.
And speaking of unexpected, let's talk about the contestants themselves. I mean, we've got everything from like a bottle to a pillow to a donut.
Even abstract concepts like non-existy, it's quite a diverse cast of character.
It really is, and I'm curious what stood out to you about this group of well, objects.
I think what's really intriguing is how the writers use these seemingly simple objects to explore some surprisingly complex personalities and relationships.
Like, for example?
Well, take Bottle, for instance. She's got this whole obsession with preventing death, which on the surface seems like a noble goal.
Yeah, who wouldn't want to prevent death?
Right, exactly. But the thing is, her actions, well, they often lead to some pretty chaotic and unintended consequences.
It's like that saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
That's a perfect way to put it, and it really makes you question, the whole nature of good intentions and whether they're always as pure as they seem.
And then you've got characters like Golf Ball, she's all about strategy and leadership, but she can be, well, a bit bossy.
She definitely has a tendency to rub her teammates the wrong way.
Yeah, and that creates this constant tension within her team, which, adds a whole other layer of drama to the competition.
It's that dynamic between collaboration and conflict that really drives a lot of the show's storylines.
These characters, they have to learn to work together if they want to succeed, but their individual personalities and goals, they often get in the way.
It's a classic recipe for both disaster and hilarity.
And speaking of hilarity, we got to talk about the challenges themselves. I mean, some of these are just downright absurd.
Absurd, but brilliant.
I'll give you that. But I mean, donut making, judged by a character named Laotian, where do they even come up with this stuff?
It's like they took the concept of a reality TV competition and just cranked the weirdness up to 11.
And it works. I mean, it's so over the top and ridiculous, but it's also strangely compelling.
It's like they're not afraid to embrace the absurd, and in doing so, they create these moments of humor and suspense that you wouldn't find in a more conventional show.
It's like they're constantly subverting your expectations.
Exactly. You never know what's going to happen next, which keeps you on the edge of your seat.
And it's not just the challenges, it's the overall tone of the show. It's like they're winking at the audience like, we know this is ridiculous, but come along for the ride anyway.
There's a definite self-awareness to the humor.
Right, and that makes it all the more enjoyable.
It's like they're inviting you to be in on the joke.
And then, just when you think you've got a handle on the show's formula, they throw in a curveball like the failed debuters led by non-existy.
Oh yeah, they definitely shake things up.
They do. And I'm curious, what did you make of their sudden arrival and their attempts to sabotage the competition?
Well, on one hand, it's a brilliant way to introduce a new element of chaos into the show.
Right, it keeps things unpredictable.
But on another level, I think it also adds this layer of meta-commentary. These failed debuters, they represent those who didn't make the initial cut, those who are constantly striving for recognition and validation.
It's like they're the underdogs, the ones who are always fighting for their chance to shine.
Exactly. And their presence really highlights the cutthroat nature of competition and the lengths people will go to for success.
And it makes you question the power dynamics at play, both within the competition and in the larger world.
It's a reminder that not everyone gets a fair shot, and that sometimes the system itself is rigged against you.
And then, of course, there's Bottle's time-traveling mishap, which throws the whole competition into disarray.
Oh yeah, that's where things get really interesting.
It does. I mean, she accidentally prevents the Grenfell Tower fire.
Which, on the surface, seems like a good thing.
Right, but
But it sets off this chain reaction that leads to an Anglo-Irish war and nuclear strikes on England.
talk about unintended consequences.
Right, and it suddenly raises the stakes to a whole new level.
The characters are no longer just competing for a prize. They're literally trying to save the world.
It's a classic case of be careful what you wish for.
So we've got this crazy mix of humor, chaos, and surprisingly high stakes. But what does it all mean? What makes Battle for Blackpool Tower so compelling? Why should the listener care about a bunch of fictional objects vying for a tower?
That's a great question, and I think it all boils down to the show's ability to balance those elements, to create a world that is both absurd and meaningful, hilarious and thought-provoking.
It's like they've taken this simple premise, objects competing for a tower, and used it to explore bigger ideas about ambition, teamwork, and the nature of reality itself.
And they do it in a way that is both entertaining and engaging. You're laughing one minute, and then the next you're pondering the deeper implications of what you're watching.
It's a show that keeps you guessing, keeps you on your toes, and ultimately leaves you wanting more.
And that, I think, is the mark of a truly great show. One that can make you laugh, think, and feel all at the same time.
So stay tuned, folks, because we're just getting started.
We've got a lot more ground to cover in our deep dive into the wacky world of Battle for Blackpool Tower.
And trust me, it's only going to get weirder from here.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's the way they weave these deeper themes into the narrative, through the characters' interactions and the challenges they face.
Like, it's not just mindless entertainment. There's actual substance there.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so brilliant, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree. And we see that play out in the various alliances and rivalries that emerge throughout the competition.
Oh, absolutely. You've got the Free Smart Alliance, for example, with Bubble and
they're always trying to make their alliance more fun, right?
Right, but their idea of fun often leads to, well, let's just say chaos.
Yeah, and it's that dynamic between Bubble's sort of naivety and Ruby's more, I don't know, maybe manipulative approach.
It creates this tension, You're never quite sure if their alliance is gonna last.
And then there's Golf Ball and her constant conflicts with her teammates.
Oh, Golf Ball, she's a whole other story.
She is, and it's like watching a slow burning fuse,
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time before it explodes.
And when it does, oh boy.
Yeah, it's not pretty.
It's like a full-blown civil war within the team.
And it really highlights the challenges of leadership.
Yeah.
Right? Like Golf Ball, she's so focused on strategy and winning, but she forgets about the importance of communication and compromise.
And that's ultimately her downfall.
But amidst all the competition and the chaos, there are also these moments of genuine emotion and connection between the characters.
Oh, absolutely. Like when Ruby breaks down crying after Pencil pops her balloon.
Yeah, or when Bracelety dedicates a ballet dance to Ice Cube after she's eliminated.
Those moments really get to you.
They do, and they remind us that these characters, even though they're objects, they're capable of forming deep bonds and experiencing a whole range of emotions.
It makes them relatable, You
Yeah.
start to care about them even when they're making terrible decisions or acting ridiculous.
Right, and it adds this layer of human relatability to a show that could easily have just been pure absurdity.
It's that balance that makes it so special.
Speaking of absurdity, one challenge that really stood out to me was the imposter challenge.
Oh yeah, the one where Laotian switches the minds of two contestants.
Right, and it's up to the teams to figure out who's who.
It's a clever way to test their knowledge of each other's personalities and quirks.
And it's those little details, right,
Yeah.
that reveal the imposter's true identity.
Like when Ruby immediately suspects Match is the imposter because she expressed fondness for basketball, which is totally out of character for her.
Or when Golf Ball realizes that Grassy is the imposter because he asks about Ice Cube, who's not even on their team.
It's those subtle inconsistencies in behavior that give them away.
And then there was the tower building challenge where the red team's tower is sabotaged by a hidden bomb.
Oh man, that was intense.
It was, and it's a reminder that in this competition, nothing is guaranteed.
Even the most carefully laid plans can be thwarted in an instant.
And it keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Yeah.
You're constantly wondering what's going to happen next.
It's unpredictable, and that's what makes it so exciting.
And then, of course, there's the whole third phase of the competition where the contestants are divided into two teams based on their color.
The red colored team and the blue colored team.
Right. And I don't know, there's something about those team names that just cracks me up.
It's so simplistic, like something you'd see in a kid's cartoon.
Exactly. And it's almost like a satire of those overly simplistic team divisions you often see in reality shows.
It's like they're poking fun at the tropes of reality TV while simultaneously, subverting them.
Right. And it works on multiple levels, which is part of what makes the show so clever.
It's funny, it's thought-provoking, and it's just plain entertaining.
And even with all the competition and the over-the-top challenges, the show also takes us on these unexpected detours that reveal a surprising depth of emotion.
You're thinking of the episode where they're tasked with commemorating loser, right?
Yeah, that one really got to me.
It was surprisingly poignant, wasn't it?
It was, and the way each team approached the challenge, it was so revealing.
Some went for grand gestures like building statues or performing elaborate songs.
While others, opted for more personal tributes like sharing memories or just expressing their gratitude for losers' presence in their lives.
It was a reminder that even in the midst of this cutthroat competition, there's still room for compassion and respect.
And genuine grief.
Yeah, and then it showed how the show can seamlessly shift between humor, drama, and moments of genuine human connection.
And we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the time-traveling episode.
Oh, right, where they have to go back and fix Bottle's mistake with the Grenfell Tower.
Yeah, it's not every day you see a bunch of talking objects hopping through different moments in history, especially their own show's history.
It's pretty wild, and it's another example of how the show, plays with meta commentary.
They actually encounter past versions of themselves.
It's like they're watching their own show within the show.
Right. And they even comment on the show's animation style, how it's changed over time.
It's self-aware, but in a clever way. It's not just winking at the audience. It's actually adding another layer to the story.
And amidst all the time travel chaos, there's this underlying sense of urgency because they realize the stakes are really high.
They're not just competing for a silly prize anymore. They're trying to prevent a global catastrophe.
Which makes you wonder what other secrets are hidden within this battle for Blackpool Tower universe.
Right. What other twists and turns await these characters?
It's a show that keeps you guessing, and that's part of its charm.
So to wrap things up, I think Battle for Blackpool Tower it's more than just a silly competition show.
It's a show that can make you laugh, but it can also make you think.
It's got heart, it's got humor, and it's got a whole lot of weirdness.
And that's a pretty winning combination, if you ask me.
So if you're looking for something different, something unique, something that will challenge your expectations, well, Battle for Blackpool Tower might just be the show for you.
And there you have it, folks. Our deep dive into the world of Battle for Blackpool Tower.
We hope you enjoyed the ride.
And who knows, maybe we'll revisit this crazy universe again sometime in the future.
Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep embracing the weird.
Because you never know what you might discover.